Well, howdy, folks. I'm old Buck Buckner from In the Bunker, and I'm totally freaked out. And you can probably guess why. It's the silent majority, the fringe middle. They freak me out. They're silent. Why are they so silent? What are they covering up? Think about it, folks. Bigfoot. All the eyewitness accounts, but where's the evidence? Right? Well, we've learned that if you apply my 1090 rule, if just 10% of the eyewitness accounts are correct, and it's many more than that, then Bigfoot exists. And if it's 90% are correct, let's say all of them are correct, then the Bigfoot population is much higher than any of us could imagine. But I'm not here today to talk to you about that, and I'm sorry to get into the shop talk, the 1090 rule, so quickly. I'm here to talk about the mailbag. People want to know, Buck, how did you get such a popular radio program? Did you interview for it? And yes, I did. I interviewed for it, and I wanted to give some people some interviewing tips. Some tips that could be good for interviewing. So the first question they asked me, they said, Buck, tell me about yourself. And it was like I died and gone to heaven. I mean, I love talking about myself. And I basically said, well, what do you want to know? Because there's so much to talk about. And I could go on and on and on, quite frankly. And they were amazed. Because I had so many topics to talk about that I didn't know which one to pick. And I could see it in their eyes. They were thinking, what a high degree of self-awareness. And the amount of information this man must know is amazing. So on to the second question. They asked me, Buck, say 3 things that your last boss would say about you. 3 positive things. And I said, well, that's easy. Number 1 would be phenomenal. They would say I was phenomenal. And they would say that so much that you couldn't fit that all under number 1. Now, number 2 would be phenomenal too, I told them. And number 3 would probably be amazing. So it would be phenomenal, and amazing. And quite frankly, they were speechless when I told them that. I even gave them a 4th, which was another phenomenal, because it was, there's other words really, but they're the top 3 or 4 that come to mind. Then another question they asked, I'm not going to go through them all because it was a very lengthy interview. It was 100 questions really, or about that many. Another question was, Buck, tell us an example and be specific of when you made a mistake. What did you do about it? My answer was, one time I had mistaken a bunny for a Bigfoot. That was a mistake, but it was at the end of the day. And think about it, folks. What happens at the end of the day? The sun is at an angle, and I was on a forested trail, lots of trees. And I came to a little open spot. The sun was at a very acute angle, and there was a bunny there munching on grass, but the shadow was very much bigger, and I turned away in fright. I know what you're thinking, Buck, you're a Bigfoot hunter. You should have been approaching the animal to try to negotiate an interview with the Bigfoot, and that is one of my dreams. And that's another question. They asked Buck, what is your dream? And I said point blank to have a sit-down interview with Bigfoot, because that would be phenomenal. The amount of information, then that would provide evidence too. And I would talk to Bigfoot about the 1090 rule. That would be my dream. Well, thank you so much, folks, for tuning in to this little shop talk. I call this the bunker shop talk, where we give some helpful tidbits, kind of like an advice column. And on this time, it was about interviewing for a job. So thank you so much for tuning in, and let's take a campfire break. We'll be right back. This is Buck Buckner in the bunker. And remember, folks, fear the middle, fear the fringe middle, and we'll be right back.